Sahana bhavatu, sahana bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.2.32 describes this impure state of consciousness as follows. Someone may say that aside from devotees who always seek shelter at the Lord's lotus feet, there are those who are not devotees but who have accepted different processes for attaining salvation. What happens to them? In answer to this question, Lord Brahma and the other demigods said, O Lotus-eyed Lord, although non-devotees who accept severe austerities and penances to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated, their intelligence is impure. They fall down from their position of imagined superiority because they have no regard for your lotus feet. So the personalists give up qualities, as Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains little before that. They give up qualities as something inherently bad and negative. They reject them. And we also reject material qualities, but we reject them for something higher, not just for their own sake, for the sake of rejection. And this is a big difference, because if we just reject the material world and the qualities, the relationships as something bad, and we don't substitute it with something better, higher, then this process of neti makes the heart very dry, like a rock, very hard. Then a person who is doing this just dry process of just rejecting the material qualities, then at one point he won't be able to identify with his fellow human beings, with their feelings, with their emotions, with their discrepancies, with their hopes. But this is what Krishna explains in Gita. The true yogi, who by comparing his own self to other living entities, he can see that what was it? I wrote it here. He sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and distress. So this is true yogi. Therefore, one of the reasons why yogi is higher than the jnani is this, because he can see this. And otherwise, all these feelings, emotions, relationships, they are just rejected. And this is the main driving force in the life of everybody. Because we have these two levels. First is what is called Parthiva rasa. That means the senses, they contact with the sense objects. And this is a source of pleasure, material pleasure. But it is very short. It longs only until the senses are in touch with the sense object. Once they are disconnected, this sensation, feeling, is gone. But then, although it is very prominent, this type of pleasure in the material world, almost everybody will accept that there is something higher. Still material, but it is higher, and this is called Svargya Rasa. Actually, these are the real relationships between people. It's not about senses and sense objects anymore. It is interaction with other human beings. And this is accepted as higher, even from material perspective. Even normal materialistic people, most of them, they will accept, at least theoretically, that this is a higher platform of life. And this is thrown out by the Mayavadis. So they reject the first one, the Parthiva Rasa, the senses and sense objects. They reject this, it's Maya. But they also reject the second, the higher platform of personal relationships. And they don't give any positive alternative to this. Yes.
These two rasas you described, do they correspond to Annamaya and Pranamaya consciousness?
Yeah. Well, yes, the Parthiva Rasa will be Annamaya, and Pranamaya will be still based on this. So it is still on the level of this Parthiva Rasa, although because on this level of Pranamaya, people are a little more intelligent, and they see, in order to get my senses into the sense objects that I desire, then in order to achieve this, because there are so many people like me, they want to achieve this, so we better make an agreement so we don't interfere with this other sense enjoyment. And this is Pranamaya, basically. But it is still it is based on the Manamoya, on the selfish desire of gratifying the senses. Once this is overcome, then there is the next platform of Dharma, Manamoya. Then we can talk about Svargya Rasa. Svargya Rasa actually means relationship inside Varnashrama only. This is technically what is meant. But we also use it a little broader sometimes. But the real relationships between people are only possible if the people follow the set of duty according to their Varna and Ashrama. Only then. It's really on the human platform. Otherwise it's mixed. It's subhuman element. So if the Mayavadis throw out all these important elements for the human being, then naturally the heart becomes very dry and the life becomes very dry. Everything is just tasteless, and no wonder, like we heard in the morning, Prabhupada was explaining in one purport, even the slightest agitation of the senses can bring them down, because they don't get any satisfaction from their life. Everything is so dry, without any taste. So we see here the Mayavadis, they have knowledge, they have, we can say even personalists. They have knowledge which is superior to the knowledge of the karmis, in a sense. They even have realization. They have jnana and vijnana. Some of them, they might have some realization that they are not matter. So they have both of these, but they don't connect this to Krishna, and this is the reason for their fall down. So in the terms of what we are talking here, Ishavasya, that means they have their allotted quota, which includes their knowledge and their realizations, but it is not connected to the Lord, and that means they fall down. This is exactly what it is explained in the first, second, and third mantra of Isopanisad. And it is confirmed by Bhagavatam here. We see here, this is 10th canto of Bhagavatam. Explains exactly the same point as the first mantra of and the second mantra of Isopanisad. The same point, same principle. Okay. Mantra 10. So, Balaram, would you like to read mantra 10?
Verse.
Yes. You got your books?
The verse or the translation?
The verse. Well, the translation. Okay.
The wise have explained that one result is derived from the culture of knowledge and that a different result is obtained from the culture of nescience.
Right. Thank you. So, what is knowledge? In the purport, Srila Prabhupada gives definition of knowledge according to Bhagavad Gita 13th chapter. So we will go through this shortly. We'll do some reading. So first, one should become a perfect gentleman and learn to give proper respect to others. This is the first element of knowledge. So how do we define this? What is this actually? One should become a perfect gentleman and learn to give proper respect to others. This is defined in Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita's verse, as humility, amanitvam. One should not pose himself as a religionist simply for name and fame. How is this defined? You remember? From Bhagavad Gita. Pridelessness. Okay. One should not become a source of anxiety to others by the actions of his body, by the thoughts of his mind, or by his words.
Non-violence.
This is non-violence. Okay, we start to catching the point. This is non-violence. So we shouldn't become a source of anxiety by the actions of the body, by the thoughts even, or by our words. And we were talking about this before, that non-violence, according to Prabhupada, includes also preaching Krishna consciousness. So if we want to be really non-violent, we are obliged to preach. And in this way we will help other living entities to break this vicious circle of suffering inside the samsara chakra. One should learn forbearance even in the face of provocation from others. Tolerance, yes. It is easy to be nice when the people around you are nice. That's normal. Like on Sankirtan and book distribution, when people are very positive, they buy books. It's very easy. But when they are not positive, then is the real test. Because otherwise we're not persons actually. We're just like a mirror. If someone comes in front of us and he is positive, he likes us, then we're very nice. We just reflect what comes. Whatever comes, we are just reflecting it. And if someone is bad, we just reflect this, and we are also negative. But where are we actually in the picture? We are not manifesting our person, our personality. We're just reflecting what is in front of us. So if we have strong identity as devotees, we should be able to hold to this, and to whatever happens, we should be reacting in a certain way, the proper way, Krishna conscious way. One should learn. One should learn to avoid duplicity in his dealings with others. What is this?
Straightforwardness.
Yes, or simplicity is the word used in Bhagavad Gita. Simplicity. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj says that simplicity means Vaishnavism. Simplicity in the sense of being sincere and not crooked. One should search out a bona fide spiritual master who can lead him gradually to the stage of spiritual realization, and one must submit himself to such a spiritual master, render him service, and ask relevant questions. What does this stand for? No, it's easy. This one. Approaching a spiritual master. Yes, a bona fide spiritual master. Ask relevant questions. This is very important in the context of our course. In order to approach the platform of self-realization, one must follow the regulative principles enjoined in the revealed scriptures. So what is this? It is connected to, but self-control will come a little later. This is cleanliness, but it's connected to self-control, of course. This is more the internal aspect of cleanliness.
Purity?
Yes, purity. Yeah. Yeah, because cleanliness is more about the body. Then it's more about the mind. One must be fixed in the tenets of the revealed scriptures. What is this?
Faith?
Yes. Faith. Steadiness is the word used. To be steady in his faith, you can say. Yes. Not only faith, but understanding also, and realization.
Rama Samhita says one should practice theistic conduct. You do things because you're rooted in the scriptures.
One should completely refrain from practices which are detrimental to the interest of self-realization. So this is self-control. One should not accept more than he requires for the maintenance of the body.
Not eating too much.
Connected to nectar construction. In Bhagavad Gita this is called renunciation of the objects for sense gratification, for sense enjoyment. One should not falsely identify himself with the gross material body, nor should...
Sense gratification?
Sorry?
What's wrong with sense gratification?
Material sense gratification.
Material sense gratification. Using the senses.
One should not accept more than he requires for the maintenance of the body. I mean, it should be connected with the principle of Rupa Goswami explains. Is the word Atyahara. Overeating or over-collecting, making too much endeavor for material things, which actually will be distracting us from our devotional service in this sense. To make too much endeavor, it's detrimental. Too much sense gratification. One should not falsely identify himself with the gross material body, nor should one consider those who are related to his body to be his home. What? This is very similar, but it will come a little later. They're almost the same. Here we mean Bhagavad Gita means absence of false ego, which is of course related to what you say. One should always remember that as long as he has a material body, he must face the miseries of repeated birth, old age, disease and death. There is no use in making plans to get rid of these miseries of the material body. This is very far out statement. There is no use in making plans to get rid of these miseries of the material body. The best course is to find out the means by which one may regain his spiritual identity. And what is this? This is easy one. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi. It's the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age and disease. This element of knowledge in Bhagavad Gita. So here, there is no use of making plans to get rid of these miseries of the material body. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't maintain the body or shouldn't take care of the body. But it means that the focus of our activities should be in developing Krishna consciousness, because this is the ultimate solution. And also it means that there is no material solution of the material problems. That we cannot fix the material energy. It is not possible. Yes?
Can you repeat what you
To read it again.
No, what you said in the beginning. What it means.
Yeah. There is no use of making plans to get rid of these miseries. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't take care of our body.
No, before that.
Before that.
When you relate that to the one you relate to, yeah.
I don't remember what
Perception
that.
of, perception of
The evils.
The evil of
Oh, this one.
Birth, death.
birth.
Ah, okay. The perception of the evil of the birth, death, old age, and disease. Janma mrityu jara vyadi.
Perceptions of the evil.
Yeah.
So in one sense it's saying we have to tolerate, we can't get rid of the problems of the body. We should really think, okay, this is wonderful, the perception of the evil,
Yeah.
the fact that we're going to grow old, and so
Yes. Yeah. Very good point. So, from one side, we should understand this is bad. It is not our place in this material world. It's not the place we should be willing to stay, because it is full of miseries. Dukkha lama shashvatam. But all these miseries and troubles, they shouldn't distract us from performance of our duties as devotees. This is what Krishna says in Gita. Went blank. This verse.
some people, it's promoted by, everybody's an individual, you can all be perfect, everybody should be, an absolute authority. It's like a misconception that everybody has the right to be complete and perfect and whole, but that's God's position.
Mm-hmm.
So we're now stuck in this material body, and whatever we've got is due to our past sinful activities, reactions. So therefore, we just should be grateful with what we've got and move forward. Not that we shouldn't think that I can't, unless I've got a perfect situation, which
Then
is my
I can-
birthright. I should be able to, sleep properly. I should be able to contemplate. I should be able to use my mind. I should be able to be free from suffering. I should have a happy situation at home. So those
Everything
things
should
are
be
real.
perfect. Unless everything is perfect, I'm not moving. So, it's like Swatara Maharaj was giving an example. The modern man, he is standing in the front of the universe, and he says, "Sir," he approaches the universe. "Sir, I exist." The universe answers, "Yes, but it doesn't oblige me in any way that you exist." I'm not obliged to you. Just because you exist doesn't mean anything. One should not be attached. One should not be attached to more than the necessities of life required for spiritual advancement. This is detachment in Bhagavad Gita. Yes.
I have a question about this last point. That there's no use in making plans to get rid of these miseries of the material body. So, say somebody has some physical problem with their body that will disable them from performing certain activities, but they will still be very much capable to cultivate devotional service. Then, should they, spend a lot of time in endeavoring to fix their body and make it, able to perform many kinds of devotional service like that?
Yeah, it depends on the situation, individual situation.
Say if somebody has an accident
Mm.
and he loses, for example, control of his legs.
Yeah.
but he can still perform so many kinds of devotional service. But if he goes on a rigorous program for 5 years, eventually he will be able, maybe to walk again. So
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
why not?
It depends on why he's doing it. If he's not distracted, if the goal is really to improve and to broaden the range of devotional service, he can perform. It's fine.
You talk about losing the ability to the legs. There was one Prabhupada disciple who always used to chant while walking up and down, and he got damaged feet, so he couldn't walk up and down, so he stopped chanting. So he had to relearn how to chant his rounds. So there's certain things that are just habits that will prevent us from doing devotionals, but you can get around them.
Back to the point. So the point you made, we should simultaneously understand it is something bad, but we should also tolerate. So this is one of the main verses in Gita. Shitoshna Sukha Dukkha Agama Tam Siti Shasva Bharata. So they will come, all these disturbances, but you shouldn't be distracted in performance of your duty. And anyway, they appear.
You should see them as perception.
And anyway, yes, exactly. They appear. They're actually born of the mind, the mental speculation. You see these dualities in the material world, good and bad. It just arises of sense perception, material sense perception. Okay, now we come to the point. One should not be more attached to wife, children, and home than the revealed scriptures ordain. Freedom of entanglement, this is called in Gita. So it's a very subtle point. It is not that one shouldn't be attached, but shouldn't be more than required. It's natural. Prabhupada says this in Gita. These are natural objects of attachment. But they shouldn't be obstacles of our devotional service. One should not be happy or distressed over desirables and undesirables, knowing that such feelings are just created by the mind. This is called even-minded in good and bad, positive and negative situations.
Is equanimity. So.
Yeah, equanimity. One should become an unalloyed devotee of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna and serve him with rapt attention. This is constant and unalloyed devotion to me. This is translation in Gita. We see the same point made in Bhagavatam, this famous verse, first canto. Ahaitu ki apartihata yatma suprasivati. In order to satisfy the Atma, the soul, devotional service should be ahaitu apartihata, without uninterrupted and selfless, without unmotivated and uninterrupted. The same point is made here. Constant and unalloyed. So Prabhupada makes the point in the purport to Gita, and that actually this is the most important element of knowledge, unalloyed devotion to Krishna. If this is in place, all others will follow. And he says there is another essential element, accepting a bona fide spiritual master. So these two are the most important. So by the mercy of Krishna you get Guru, and by the mercy of Guru you get Krishna. And all other elements of knowledge, they will come, all other qualities will come as a result of this. Surrender to Guru and Krishna. One should develop a liking for residence in a secluded place with a calm and quiet atmosphere, favorable for spiritual culture. And one should avoid congested places where non-devotees congregate. So I have a question here. So here Prabhupada says, secluded place with a calm and quiet atmosphere, favorable for spiritual culture. So many of our temples nowadays, unfortunately in ISKCON, are exactly calm and quiet, because there are more deities than devotees. But let's say you have a dynamic temple, there are many brahmacharis and devotees inside, and it's neither quiet, it's not also very calm. So we have one big room, and this was my experience. And then there's so many people there, so many brahmacharis running, that actually it's not possible just to sit and read. It's not possible, because someone will come, he'll start talking to you, then you have to answer, and it's so much distraction. So it's just not possible to read. So my question is, what Prabhupada actually means here? Calm and quiet atmosphere, does it include temples like these dynamic temples where there are many preachers and it's very, everything is moving and there are many people there? Yes.
Well, it also says we should avoid congested places where non-devotees congregate. So if it's devotees doing that, then it's not a problem.
Yes. Okay. So
in one definition as well, Srila Prabhupada gives that silence in one verse in Bhagavad Gita. He explains that silence means speaking only of Krishna.
Okay, this is about Mauna Vrata.
Yeah. So then, in that sense, then quiet doesn't necessarily mean you can't make noise.
It should be Krishna Katha.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Someone else? Or everybody agrees with this?
Doesn't make it easier to study.
Yeah. Well, finally, ultimately, we found a solution for this. So you can still make it.
Yes, sir.
For example. Okay, everybody agrees? Yes.
If you go to preaching, you see, for example, when we was in Pandava, we like that when people preach, we go to pub. So we like the pubs. So we go to the pubs and try to preach there. There's so many disturbing there. But the devotee still duty too. If you want to preach, you have to find that kind of place.
Where they actually, the karmis congregate. So just opposite of what he said here.
So, but it's good, maybe.
Yes. That's good.
These external things can be there, but it's as though the devotees have to live in a little bubble. But although these things are going on and they're surrounding us, we're absorbed in the activities of Krishna consciousness. So that's the only silence or rest.
The protection.
Protection, yeah. They say Kirtan Ras. Kirtan Ras is the safest place in the world. So you're in a roaring kirtan. It's not quiet. My mother came to visit once. I had to leave the temple room. The kirtan was so loud with the wampas, and my mother stayed in for 5 minutes longer. And she came out and she said, actually, it's very peaceful in there. So,
amazing.
No, she was in ecstasy. She loved it. It generates a mood where you can be satisfied. Whereas if you're not. One time we were travelling away from a temple for about 2 months, travelling Sankirtan, and the trucks were going past on the highway and there was lots of noise. And because we didn't have the spiritual sound to purify us, that was driving us nuts, all those noise. But if you've got a loud kirtan regularly, you can tolerate the bang, 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 because you're purified.
Very good point.
Another thing I was thinking is that here it says that one's residence should be in such a place, but not to mean that one cannot go to a place which is congested to preach.
I was just about to make this point, yes. So it's more about, you should prefer a lifestyle like this that is more sattvic, but we shouldn't be carried away by this desire just to stay free of disturbance for our own sake. But we should be ready to take some trouble going out and taking all these austerities in the name of preaching. This is your point, I guess.
Prabhupada says that we should develop a liking. So it's not that we can't. We should also, we should develop a liking for, as you said.
Yeah, a taste, sattvic taste for sattvic way of living. But this shouldn't obstruct our preaching when it's necessary to go out and to face and to go exactly in these places when the non-devotees congregate. We see Prabhupada did this, so we shouldn't be also afraid. Yes.
Well, I was going to say that Prabhupada's home was in Bandhava, and then he went outside to preach.
Yeah. So Prabhupada gave a perfect example for this.
So you can go out if you're properly armoured, protected.
Yeah.
If you have your weapons loaded. If you go out there and just your senses are weak, then you become overwhelmed by those things.
It's dangerous. Yeah. It's like Gaura Kishora Das Babaji, he instructed Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj that you never go to Calcutta. And apparently Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj went very often to Kolkata. He had temple in Kolkata. But he explained, he said, actually I never went to Kolkata, I only went to Gaudiya Math, which is Vaikuntha, spiritual world. So he never disregarded this instruction. Actually, he followed this instruction in a perfect way, you can say. Okay. One should become a scientist or philosopher and conduct research into spiritual knowledge, recognizing that spiritual knowledge is permanent, whereas material knowledge ends with the death of the body. So what is this? How do we call this? Remember? Accepting the importance of self-realization and philosophical research of absolute truth. Quoting Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada writes, these 18 items combine to form a gradual process by which real knowledge can be developed. Except for these, all other methods are considered to be in the category of nescience.
What is different between number 10 and 13?
10. One should not accept more than he requires for the maintenance of the body. And 13. One should not be attached to more than the necessity of life required for spiritual advancement. One is detachment and this one is renunciation. Well, generally, renunciation means you reject the sense objects, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are detached from them internally. Like you could still keep in the mind liking of this material object. It's just like a patient who is advised he shouldn't eat sweets, but he likes sweets anyway. But detachment means you are already detached from it. You don't have a need nor desire for this. So this is the general. So in Sanskrit you have detachment is vairagya is renunciation. Detachment is, I forgot the word. It's a different word. Virakti, I think. Virakti is detachment, and the other one is renunciation. Yes.
What was the connection of 17 to Bhagavad Gita?
Okay. It's detachment from the general mass of people. And the developing desire to live in a solitary place, in a sacred place, you can say, holy place.
Yes. We were talking earlier about bhoga and tyaga.
Yeah.
Does tyaga mean renunciation or detachment?
Renunciation.
Renunciation.
Yes. Because if it's detachment, then you'll never go back to bhoga. So it's very straightforward here, Prabhupada says. Except for this, all other methods are considered to be in the category of ignorance. We have our opinions, Krishna has his opinion, and his opinion is superior. It doesn't matter. Prabhupada will make this point a little later in one purport of Isopanisad. He will says it doesn't liking or disliking the truth, it doesn't matter. You can like the truth or dislike it. The truth is still absolute truth is the absolute truth. So we can say in a sense the whole process of Bhakti Yoga is we'll learn how to like the absolute truth. We'll learn how to appreciate our position. First we understand what is our position, that we are servants of Krishna, then we learn how to actually to appreciate, to understand it's something enjoyable. Actually, it's not bad. And Krishna is not a bad person, he is nice. We gradually learn how to appreciate this position. Because the truth is not going to change anyway. So we better learn how to work with this situation. Okay. So mantra 10. Mantra 9 describes the results of indulging in ignorance and developing false knowledge. This is the previous one. Mantra 10 declares that real knowledge is different from either of these. The Vedic knowledge is two types: Paravidya, transcendental knowledge, and Aparavidya, material knowledge connected with the Lord and thus spiritualized. So everybody is clear with these terms, Para and Aparavidya? Everybody understand? What's the difference? It's the same body of knowledge. We're talking about Aparavidya and Avidya. So the same body of knowledge can be either Aparavidya or Avidya, and it depends on how, if it is connected with Krishna or it is not. So we can take astrology, for example, the same, or even Ayurveda or anything like this. If it is connected, if it's used for Krishna's service, then it is accepted as Aparavidya. If not, then it's ignorance. Just like the vegetable, if it is it's the same vegetable, you can cook it and offer it to Krishna, then it's spiritual. If you just cook it for yourself, the same vegetable is accepted as material. Yes.
So if the knowledge, if it is connected to Krishna, then it becomes spiritualized.
Yeah, this type of knowledge we're talking here. You have spiritual. Yeah, you have spiritual knowledge, which is like books like, well, Atma Vidya. Krishna explains it in Gita. Adhyatma Vidya. Anyway, he gives an example of Vedanta Sutra in Gita. It is spiritual knowledge. It doesn't matter how you take it. It is spiritual. Or Srimad Bhagavatam also. It doesn't matter what you think. It is spiritual. It doesn't change.
So my question is, what if somebody is teaching avidya and using the results of that teaching in devotional service?
And how he will teach avidya? What do you mean? Teaching?
He teaches, but what he's teaching is about the material. It has no connection.
Okay, he doesn't connect to Krishna, and he uses he'll make advancement because he's connected to Krishna somehow. I know it's individual thing. But why he wouldn't connect it to Krishna?
Because the students are not interested.
Students are not interested.
To Krishna.
He's got a job as a teacher.
Let's say,
Right?
yeah, for example, yeah. And if he tried to connected to Krishna, they'll kick him out from school or something like this. Yeah, in this sense, he does his duty and then he gives part of the results to Krishna and he's connected. He's a devotee anyway. Krishna will take care. This is what I think. Mataji wanted to ask something.
If someone has observed something in the material world, like science,
Yeah.
for example, like it's obviously it's part of it's from Krishna. It's only existing because Krishna made it happen. But they're observing it and expressing it in a way that is not
Disconnected.
in the Vedas. For example, like the periodic table, like in chemistry, it gives elements, but in the Vedic scriptures we talk about earth, water, fire, whereas they've broken down those sort of more specific things.
Yeah.
So that, what
It is a paravidya, of course, because it is part of the Krishna science anyway. But it depends what is the consciousness of this person, how he sees this. If he is atheistic, then he's teaching ignorance. But if he can make the connection back to Krishna, then it is a paravidya, because this is Krishna's knowledge. It's no one else's knowledge. Everything comes from the Vedas. We made this point, Prabhupada made this point in the very beginning. There is no knowledge independent from the knowledge coming from the Vedas. Nobody can claim independent knowledge from the Vedas. So it is anyway already, it is connected to Krishna. So now the question is, can you see this? And if you can see this, can you teach it to others or not? Is this answering your question? Did I get the question? First?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if they observe. Sorry, I think it's if they're observing something, because it is Veda, because obviously it's from Krishna, but it's just if they go into more, is it just that they're going into more detail that's unnecessary? Is that why they're so discovering? Like on Newton's laws.
Okay.
They're not specifically enunciated in the Vedas.
They might be, I'm not sure. Are you sure? Because
No, I'm not sure.
yeah. I mean, I didn't study this part of that. So why are they able to go into such details? And we just deal with and we're just dealing with 4 or 5 elements. It is first of all we also deal with the devotees. Like for example, they have no idea so much about the ether. They don't know about this, so they just deal with 4 basically. Some of them have very vague idea about this, the 5th one. And also you develop your knowledge according to your value system. So if this is valuable, if breaking down matter is valuable for them, they will go into very, very, very much detail. They'll go into details into this particular.
It's just not valuable.
It's like, but still they're missing so many things. They miss the super soul. They miss, because Sankhya philosophy already divided the world into elements. So they miss false ego. They miss intelligence. They miss mind. These are subtle material substances that they don't take it at all in consideration. That means they are more gross, although they are able to divide these elements in the gross elements in whatever. But we have also Vaisheshika is doing this anyway already, the atomic theory. It's like Ayurveda and the modern medicine. The modern medicine just goes into one particular branch of the Ayurveda, which is called the poisons, and they develops it very it's elaborate descriptions of different. They work on this basis poisons, And also surgery. Okay, I think the boys are getting restless. We should stop here. Okay. Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai.